I never thought my husband would leave me, not in a million years. He was always the quiet one, the one who stayed. Now it's been 6 months since he walked out our front door. My sister says I did this to myself. My friends don't call anymore. I sit in our empty house and think about the joke I made. One stupid joke, that's all it took. Tom and I were married for 8 years. We had a good life. A small house in a town where everyone knows everyone. 2 kids. A boy 7, a girl 5. Tom worked at the library. He shelved books and helped people find things. He made little money. I worked at the grocery store. I made more than him. I always said that was fine, but deep down it bothered me. Tom was gentle, that's the word everyone used. Gentle, he never raised his voice. He walked away from fights. When neighbors played music too loud, Tom would say, let's just ignore it. When my sister's husband made rude jokes, Tom would smile and change the subject. When our son got bullied at school, Tom talked about using your words and understanding feelings. I wanted him to march to that school and scare the bully, but Tom didn't work that way. My friends noticed. We would have coffee on Sundays. The other husbands would talk about fixing cars and lifting weights. Tom would sit there and listen. Sometimes he talked about the books he was reading. My friend Lisa pulled me aside one day. She said, Mara, Tom is sweet, but can you imagine him protecting you? Like if someone broke in? I laughed, but her words stayed in my head. Our town got worse over the years, more break-ins, more trouble. I started to feel unsafe. I told Tom we needed a security system. He said we couldn't afford it. I told him he needed to learn to fight. He said he didn't believe in violence. I told him I needed to feel safe. He put another lock on the door, that was all. The stress got bigger. My boss at the grocery store was mean. He cut my hours. Money was tight. The kids needed new shoes. Tom still worked his quiet job. He still came home and made dinner. He still read stories to the kids. He still touched my shoulder softly at night. It wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted a man who could handle things, who could fix problems with strength, not with patience. I started to collect evidence. That's what I called it in my head. Evidence that Tom was weak. One day, a man cut us off in traffic. Tom just let him go. I said, why didn't you honk? Tom said, what would that solve? Another day, our neighbor's dog got into our yard. Tom gave it back with a treat. I said, you should have told them to fix their fence. Tom said it's okay. The dog was scared. At work, I talked about it. The other women listened. They agreed. They had husbands who fixed things, big men, loud men, men who made them feel small and safe at the same time. My husband made me feel like I was the strong one. I was tired of being strong. My sister Jenna was the worst. She married a truck driver named Rick. Rick was loud and big. When Jenna had a flat tire, Rick came and changed it in 5 minutes. When someone looked at Jenna wrong at a bar, Rick got in their face. Jenna would tell these stories and look at Tom. Tom would nod and smile. Jenna would roll her eyes at me when Tom wasn't looking. One night after the kids were asleep, Tom and I had a fight. I told him I didn't feel safe with him. He sat on the edge of the bed. He didn't yell. He never yelled. He said, what do you need me to do? I said, I need you to be a man. He didn't answer. He just looked at his hands. The next day I told Jenna. She said, Mara, you deserve to feel safe. Rick says Tom needs to grow a spine. Rick's words coming through Jenna felt like truth. We started going to dinner parties at Jenna's house. Rick would tell stories about his job, about the road, about fights he'd almost gotten into. Everyone listened. Tom would sit in the corner. Sometimes he helped Jenna's kids with their homework. Rick would laugh and say, Tom's good with the little ones. It sounded like an insult. I started to make little jokes at home. I would say, Tom, can you open this jar? Oh wait, never mind. I would say if someone broke in, I guess I'd have to be the one to fight them. He never reacted. He just did what I asked. He opened the jar. He checked the locks. He was quiet. The kids noticed. Our son asked me, Mommy, is Daddy strong? I said, Daddy is gentle. The boy looked sad. I could see he wanted a dad who was a superhero. Tom played gentle games. He built pillow forts. He never played rough. He never wrestled. Once I tried to get him to show the boy how to throw a punch. Tom said, I don't know how. I laughed. It was a mean laugh. Months passed. The evidence grew. Tom's boss yelled at him about a late shipment. Tom came home and said, I understand why he was upset. I said, you should have yelled back. He said that wouldn't help. I started to think about leaving. I looked at apartments. I went online and read about divorce. I talked to Jenna. She said, you need a real man. I believed her, but I didn't leave. Instead, I pushed harder. I wanted Tom to become someone else. I wanted him to wake up and be strong. I thought if I kept showing him his weakness, he would change. One Saturday, Jenna had a barbecue. Rick was there grilling meat. He had his shirt off. He had big muscles. He told a story about a guy at a truck stop who tried to steal from him. Rick said, I looked that man in the eye and he backed down. That's what being a man is. Everyone laughed. Tom was inside washing dishes. I had too much wine. I was standing with Jenna and two other wives. We were talking about our husbands. Jenna said, Rick makes me feel so safe, like nothing can touch me. One wife said, my husband is the same way. He's my rock. They looked at me. I felt small. I felt angry. I said it then. The words just came out. Tom could never protect me. He's too weak. I laughed. I said it like it was a joke, like it was just a funny truth. Jenna laughed. The other wives laughed. It felt good to say it out loud. It felt like I was finally being honest. Tom was walking back from the kitchen. He had a plate of cookies. He stopped. He heard me. Our eyes met. I saw something in his face I had never seen before. It wasn't hurt. It was something else. It was like a door closing. He put the cookies down. He didn't say anything. He just turned and walked out of the backyard. He left the party. Jenna said, he's so sensitive. Everyone agreed. I felt a little bad but also right. He was sensitive. He was weak. He couldn't even stay and talk about it. He ran away. We drove home in silence. The kids were at my mom's house. I said it was just a joke. Tom said, I know. He said nothing else. We went to bed. He faced the wall. I felt angry. Why couldn't he just be strong? Why couldn't he laugh it off? Why did he have to make me feel bad about telling the truth? The next morning, Tom got up early. He made coffee. He made eggs. He sat at the table. He looked at me. He said, Mara, we need to talk. I felt hopeful. Maybe this was it. Maybe he would finally say he'd change. Maybe he would sign up for a gym. Maybe he would learn to fight. He said, I'm leaving, just like that, calm, quiet, like he was reading a weather report. I laughed. Leaving. Where are you going? He said, I'm moving out. I've found a place. My stomach dropped. What? Why? He said, you were right. I'm weak. I can't protect you, so I'm removing myself from that responsibility. I said it was a joke, Tom. You can't leave over a joke. He said it wasn't a joke. It was the truth, and I can't live with someone who believes that. I started to cry. I said, I'll stop saying it. I'll stop. He said, you shouldn't have to stop saying what you feel. And I shouldn't have to stay and hear it. He packed a bag. He packed his books. He packed his clothes. He didn't take much. He said the kids could visit him at his new place. He said he'd send money. He said he'd be fair. I begged. I got on my knees. I said, please, Tom, I didn't mean it. He looked at me. He wasn't angry. He wasn't sad. He was just done. He said, Mara, you meant every word, and that's okay. But I'm done trying to be someone I'm not. He left. The door clicked shut. I sat on the floor and felt the house get quiet. The first week I thought he would come back. I called him. He answered politely. He said, we need space. I called Jenna. She said, good riddance. You deserve better. She brought me wine. We talked about my future, but the wine tasted bitter. The house felt empty. The kids came home. They asked where Daddy was. I said, Daddy needs some time. My son cried. My daughter asked if Daddy was coming back. I said, I don't know. It was the first time I had said those words. I kept calling Tom. He kept being polite. He said, Mara, please respect my boundaries. I didn't know what that meant. I thought boundaries were for other people, for weak people. I went to his work, the library. I stood outside. I saw him through the window. He was helping an old woman find a book. He looked calm. He looked like he was breathing. He looked like he didn't need me. I went to Jenna. I said, what do I do? She said, let him go. Find a real man. But for the first time her words sounded hollow. I looked at Rick. He was watching TV, yelling at a game. He looked loud. He looked exhausting. I sent Tom long messages. I apologized. I explained. I said I was stressed. I said I didn't mean it. I said I needed him. He replied with short messages. He said, I hear you. He said, take care of yourself. He said, I'll see the kids on Saturday. The Saturdays came. He would pick up the kids. He would bring them back exactly on time. He would talk to me about their schedules. He would not talk about us. He would not come inside. He would stand on the porch. He was consistent. He was calm. My sister called me. She said, Tom called me. He asked if I could help you with the kids. I was angry. I said, why didn't he call me? She said, he said you need support, not pressure. I yelled at her. I said, why is everyone treating me like I'm the problem? She was quiet. Then she said, Mara, you told him he was weak. You told everyone. What did you expect? I hung up on her, but her words stayed. I started to see things differently. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. Tom had always cooked. Now I cooked. Tom had always helped the kids with their feelings. Now I had to. Tom had always fixed little things around the house with quiet patience. Now they stayed broken, or I had to fix them. I realized I didn't know how. I realized I had never learned because Tom had always done it. I saw his gentleness differently now. It wasn't weakness. It was strength that stayed. It was strength that didn't need to prove itself. It was strength that made coffee every morning. That read stories at night. That listened to our daughter's nightmares. That taught our son to use words instead of fists. I had wanted him to be a hammer, but he was a bridge. I had wanted him to be loud. But he was the quiet that let everyone else speak. I had wanted him to protect me from the world, but he had been protecting the world from his own pain, and I had made that pain into a joke. I learned this from Tom's brother. He came to get some of Tom's things. He looked at me with pity. I said, "Why is he doing this?" Tom's brother said, "You don't know, do you?" He told me about their father, a man who used his strength, a man who yelled and hit, a man Tom swore he would never become. Tom's brother said Tom spent his whole life learning to be gentle. It was the hardest thing he ever did. And you spit on it, you called it weak, in front of everyone. I felt sick, I threw up in the bathroom. I came back and said I didn't know. Tom's brother said, "You never asked. You just told him what he was." He left with the boxes. I sat on the floor and cried, but the crying didn't help. The truth was already out. The truth was I had wanted a man who could protect me. But Tom had been protecting me from his own shadow, from his own history, from becoming his father, and I had asked him to step into the light and become a monster. The weeks went by. Tom filed for divorce. He did it calmly. He used a mediator. He didn't fight. He gave me the house. He gave me child support. He gave me everything I needed to be stable. And he gave me nothing of himself. I saw him at the school play. Our son had a small part. Tom sat in the back. He watched the kids. He applauded. He saw me and he nodded, just a nod, like I was a neighbor, like I was someone he used to know. I tried to talk to him after. I said, "Tom, can we try again?" He said no. He said, "Mara, you need someone who makes you feel safe. I need someone who feels safe with me. We never had that." I said I was wrong. I see that now. He said, "I'm glad, but it's too late." He walked away. His gait was steady. He was not running. He was not hiding. He was just walking away from me. My friends stopped inviting me to parties. They said it was awkward. They said Tom was happier now. They said he was volunteering at a youth center, teaching kids to read. They said he looked peaceful. They said he looked strong. Jenna still called. She said, "Rick thinks you should start dating. He has a friend." I looked at her and said, "Jenna, I lost the best thing I ever had." She said he was weak. I said no, I was. She didn't call after that. Kids stopped asking when Daddy was coming home. They knew he wasn't. My son started to act like Tom. He would be quiet. He would be gentle. He would walk away when I yelled. I saw Tom in him, and I saw what I had almost broken. I got a letter from Tom's lawyer. It was about the final papers. It was polite. It was clear. It was the last thing I would get from him. I signed them. I cried. I mailed them back. Now I sit in this house. The house Tom gave me. The kids are asleep. I am alone. I think about that night at Jenna's barbecue. I think about my words. My husband could never protect me. He's too weak. I realize now he was the only thing protecting me from my own cruelty. He was the only thing protecting our family from falling apart. He was the only thing protecting himself from becoming a man who uses force. And I pushed him. I pushed him until he did the one strong thing I never expected. He left. I thought strength was loud. I thought it was fists and noise and standing over someone. But strength is waking up every day and choosing to be gentle when you have been hurt. Strength is reading to your kids when you feel like crying. Strength is walking away from someone you love because they will destroy you if you stay. Tom was strong. I was the weak one. I was weak because I needed him to be something he wasn't to make myself feel bigger. I was weak because I couldn't see what I had until I broke it. I was weak because even now, part of me still wishes he had just yelled back. Wished he had fought me. Wished he had stayed and let me keep cutting him down. But he didn't. He got up and left me. And that was the strongest thing anyone has ever done. I lost him. I lost the best part of me. I lost the safe feeling I had when he was here, even though I didn't know that's what it was. I thought safe meant big muscles and loud voices. I know now safe means someone who stays. Someone who chooses you every day. Someone who protects you from themselves even when you don't see it. I didn't see it. And now I sit here and the house is quiet, and the joke is on me. The joke is my whole life. I am the punchline. My son asked me yesterday, "Mommy, are you sad?" I said, "Yes, baby." He said, "Daddy used to make you not sad." I said, "I know. Mommy made a mistake." He said, "Can you fix it?" I said, "No. Some things you can't fix." He went to play. He is 5 years old and he understands that better than I do. I keep thinking I will wake up and this will be a dream. That Tom will be in the kitchen making coffee. That I will take back those words. That I will tell him I see him. I see his strength. I see his choice. I see his love. But I don't wake up from this. This is what I get for telling the truth in the shape of a joke. This is what I get for confusing quiet with weak. This is what I get for listening to people who think strength is about breaking things instead of building them. Tom is gone. He is not coming back. He is building a life where he can be gentle, where he can be safe, where he can be strong without someone like me telling him it's not enough. And I am here in the house he gave me, learning that the thing I wanted most was the thing I destroyed. Protection, safety, strength. I had it all along. I just didn't know what it looked like. So now I tell this story. Not because it fixes anything. Not because anyone will feel sorry for me, but because it's true. And because maybe someone else will hear it before they make the same joke. Before they mistake a quiet man for a weak one. Before they push away the person who is holding them together just because they don't make a lot of noise while they do it. Tom was never weak. He was never weak. He was never weak. I was, I am, and I have to live with that, every day. Every quiet, empty day. This is what I protected myself from. This is what I get. This is what I made. And the joke is that I thought I needed protecting from the world, but I needed protecting from myself. And Tom was the only one doing it, and I called him weak for it. So he got up. And he left me, and I understand now. I understand. I finally understand. But it's too late. It's too late. It's too late.